Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for another channel update, a few random rambling thoughts here and there video for the month of October. Try to do one of these maybe every month or two lately, especially if there aren't any major tech or gaming events going on. So I figured, yeah, let's just do a quick channel update with the holidays coming up and everything, with October have just gone by and all the Halloween videos and such. Just give you a little update on what's going on, what's maybe going to happen, and just a few other random thoughts and things like that. So let's just dive right in here. We're looking at the Illegally Cited main page here, and a lot of videos have been coming out lately, especially in October, being the month of Halloween. There's a plethora of different horror-themed game titles that we can look at and that we have looked at. So we had a couple of accessible titles, especially Fear, F-E-E-R, for iOS and Android. If you haven't checked that out and you have a smartphone of any kind, do check it out because it is really fun. It is definitely one of the few accessible games that I really keep coming back to because there's a lot of replayability, gaining levels and all that kind of stuff. And speaking of Fear, I do want to recognize, I saw on Twitter, was it yesterday, that they just earned, I forget who it was through, but I saw they earned a kind of a user community Game of the Year feature. So congratulations to them. Well deserved, well earned. It is well deserved and well worth the very low asking price, either on Android or iOS. So Fear, check it out. Also in Halloween month, one that sticks out to me was the last video I did on Halloween Day itself, which is for a game called Stifled VR. And it starts out a little bit slow just because I didn't know really what to expect. You are in this, some kind of a big house, and you have sort of vision. Like in the house, it kind of tricks you because when you make noise, you hear sound, sort of like echolocation, but you had more graphic detail. But when the game proper started, oh man, then it actually went to, your kind of line-drawn art and echolocation trope that a lot of games that seem to have some sort of a blind protagonist tend to use. But the really interesting thing about this game is that not only was it in VR, so it was extremely immersive, and not only did it rely on really, really effective, creepy audio, but this game also used your microphone, your headset's microphone. So there were times where I literally wanted to comment or talk about something, and I couldn't because there was this little demon child that was trying to come up and kill me. And so, you really had to watch, like, oh, did you make any noise? Did your character make any noise? Just to, I really like how games just are using everything in the headset. You're using the immersiveness of VR, you're using the microphone. Just a really unique game experience, and I thought it was a really, really effective horror game. Definitely listen to that, watch that video with headphones. And all kinds of other Halloween videos. But not just Halloween stuff has been on the channel. I've done some Apple reviews. If you may or may not have seen, I have my iPhone XS Max review. Got one of those. And other than still, like I said, I'm still prefer Touch ID. But like I said, I'm kind of learning to live with Face ID, and I'm mostly fine with it. But otherwise, I really like the phone. I have no trouble using it. It's fast. The screen is excellent. The camera is fantastic. Just using that thing as a CCTV is something else, man. That camera works very, very well as a CCTV. And it's funny because going back to like my work phone, my work iPad, where, they're older devices and they have the home button and everything, I'm getting so used to using the touch gestures of the X series of devices that I find myself starting to do them, or I'll try hitting the side button to turn voiceover on and off. I'm like, oh wait, I have a home button. So I've used it definitely enough to where it seems to be becoming my primary device. And then when I go back to something else, I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of different again. So it's kind of like going back to something like, wait, how did I do that again? So check that review out. And then in middle of October, I ended up getting a trade-in for my Apple Watch Series 3. So I do have a Apple Watch Series 4, did the review for that in October. And having used it some additional time, I still got to say I'm really liking the device. The screen on it is bigger, it's better, it's clearer. The audio is, again, the audio is much clearer. You know, it's very responsive, it's louder. Just the phone's responsiveness is really great. There's no real lag that I've noticed really when using VoiceOver, and I've been testing a lot more apps. You know, I've been testing the upcoming Voice Dream Reader watch app. I've been playing with Audible. I've been playing with Overcast and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, you know, the Watch Series 4 is kind of growing on me a little bit more. Using it with my AfterShokz, and life is good. And I do have one more. Yes, I've spent way too damn much money. So, you know, like I said, I feel like I'm interneting wrong. I'm doing the internet wrong. Every podcast, every video series, every blog, every whatever, you know, I have a GoFundMe campaign, support me on Patreon, and give me money, please. I feel like I need to do that because boy howdy do I spend money. I feel like I'm doing the internet wrong. But yeah, I did end up getting the iPad Pro, the 2018 iPad Pro 12.9-inch tablet. So I have not recorded a video for it. I hope to probably this weekend at some point. I do have a friend coming down probably later today, and he'll be leaving tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll get around to it immediately, but I'm hoping, you know, with Thanksgiving week being this upcoming week, I'm recording this on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, then I will be able to record it and either get it to you as a bonus video or get it to you on on the Wednesday's video. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely going to be reviewing that. I have a lot of good things to say. I have a couple of complaints, but overall, it's a pretty great device. And I will say, especially I've been using it at work a lot lately in a lot of different situations and showing students and things. The camera on this thing, it's kind of getting to the point where you can finally use an iPad as a pretty clear CCTV. But I'll get more into that when I do my full iPad review. So stay tuned for that. One of the other recent videos I would highly recommend maybe checking out. I know it's not going to be the most exciting video, and I do apologize for that, but you know what? It's not my fault because the game itself is not very good. I did a stream about 2 weeks ago already. Wow, how time flies. But I did a stream, a Mixer stream, mixer.com/BGFH, by the way. And I did a stream for The Quiet Man, which is this part live action, FMV, and then like a very, very simple beat 'em up brawler game. But the catch is you're playing a deaf protagonist. So, you know, accessibility wise and people with disability representation, I'm not just interested in, you know, blindness. I was very curious to see, even knowing going in, people were not really having some good things to say about the game. I felt with the type of channel that I have, I felt that it was a good thing to maybe take a look at that. And I sort of see what they were going for or what they were maybe attempting to do, but boy, the execution on that was pretty much flawed on, I would say, most angles. You know, the gameplay was boring to frustrating at the very end. It went from being, you know, just a mindless button masher to just cheap whatever at the very end of my video there. But the whole thing with The Quiet Man being your deaf character, I mean, there's no subtitles in the game. You just have these weird I don't even know what you would call these sound effects. I wouldn't even call them really ambient, but just these weird muffled sound effects sort of things. And sometimes you'll see him do a few signs, but like, maybe he's reading lips or maybe he's not, or there's just literally, and there's scenes even where he's not in them. The deaf guy is not in them. And there's just other people talking to each other and, gesticulating with their hands and whatever. But they're just talking and you have no clue, no context what the hell they're talking about. And so, yeah, I would like to see another game that tries to portray a deaf protagonist, but at the same time, it's clear that they really didn't have much. They claim that they had some consultant on like deaf and hard of hearing and maybe sign language and stuff, but from what I gathered, I read something on some game, I forget what gaming site it was, that apparently it was it was still a hearing individual, so it wasn't actually, a deaf or hard of hearing person. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that game. If nothing else, check some of it out for the kind of curiosity that it is. But yeah, yeah, Quiet Game or Quiet Man, not really a good game. And since then, I guess there's been a patch. The developer said, oh, about a week after, we're going to put a patch in, and we're going to give you the audio so you'll hear the dialogue and you'll be able to make more sense of the story. And to me, if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. That's a cop-out, because the whole point of the game is to play a deaf protagonist, design your game in a way so that an average player can make sense of it for the first time going through that character's eyes. Because if you're saying, oh, well, that's like saying, oh, well, you're going to do this thing, but we're going to put a blindfold on you, but we know this is really hard. And, you shouldn't have to put up with that, because it's not like, I was born visually impaired. I don't have a choice. I can't just be like, oh, let me take my crappy vision glasses off. My vision is what it is, and it will be that way likely until I die. I don't have that option, but like if you're having that in your game, that's basically saying, well, having this disability is too hard, so eventually we'll give you a way so that you can feel comfortable being a fully abled individual. And I kind of have a problem with that. And so, I'm still stuck in that game. Since I streamed it, I haven't even played it since. I don't know if I want to, because you have to finish the game to actually unlock that audio mode. But I don't care enough about the story, the characters. I don't care enough to really think I'm going to even bother. And again, I think I'm cheating myself if I do. So I think we're just going to let that one lie. So those are the major things that I've been doing on the channel. Like I said, stay tuned for my iPad Pro review. That'll be coming up probably here in the next week. Like I said, this is a Saturday before Thanksgiving. Had a heck of a long, busy week at work last week. On the road doing a bunch of stuff Thursday and Friday. And I tried recording this last night, but I was not happy with the results, so we're doing it over again. And I was I was beat. So I got home, did a few things, tried recording this. Really wasn't happy with it. It's funny because I have the full week of Thanksgiving off. Woohoo! I have a whole week to catch up on videos and games and reading and drumming and all kinds of whatever stuff I want to do. But how did I start it? By getting old, by being tired from working. I zonked out at like 10 o'clock last night and just crashed hard. So, yeah, not the exciting start to the week-long vacation that I had anticipated. But hey, whatever works. I feel pretty great right now. So yeah, life is good. But like I said, I hope to I'll probably get some bonus videos to you guys, just because, hey, like I said, I have more time. I'll at least record them. I'll release some of the ones that I already have recorded. Again, if you're new to the channel, I do regular videos Wednesdays and Saturdays. And sometimes I'll give you guys bonus videos on a, holiday or whatever. And yeah, I'll likely pump out a couple other ones for you guys in the next week because, hey, I've got time off. It's a little time to relax, and why the heck not? So, yeah. I do, as for stuff that is coming up, like I said, I have lots of games. Of course, your mainstream titles. I have some accessible games. There's actually a game that came out yesterday. I didn't even learn about it until like 2 days ago. The Veil, which is a accessible PC adventure-ish kind of game. I've heard it sort of compared to something maybe like Blind Legend or something like that. There's a beta of it, in which, if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me post, retweet the link to sign up for said beta, and I will encourage you to go follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, and you can find it there as well. And I think he might be still accepting betas, I'm not sure, but if he is, you can find the link there. And maybe tomorrow or Monday, I'm thinking maybe I will be able to do a stream. Maybe I will see if I can fire up a Mixer stream and see just what this beta is about, because I'm pretty curious. It's always good to have another audio game, and I definitely would like to see it. I watched a couple of short teaser trailers that the channel, that their YouTube channel has, and I'm intrigued. So keep an eye out for the announcement for that, and I'll put the archive up here, of course. And let's see, I think in the last month's video I said I was in 2 podcasts. I guested on 2 podcasts. One of those is out. You can check out the Parallel podcast, number 6, I believe, and I was on that talking about low vision and high contrast and dark themes and stuff like that. That is out there for you to consume. I'm also going to be on the, it's a Blind VA Veterans podcast. I was invited to go on there, and we talked about a lot of different things, a lot of tech and gaming and, miscellaneous assistive technology and blindness and low vision gaming and all that kind of stuff. Fun conversation. That, I hope, should be coming out here pretty soon. I just got an email from the host of that a day or 2 ago. Things just kind of caught up with him, and he's been super busy as well. So he's going to be hopefully trying to get that together here soon. So again, follow me on Twitter, and you will see the link to that when it does appear, and when you can listen to it. I will post the link to that for you to also consume. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. It's just been super busy at work and doing some of this, little bit of videos, a little bit of podcasts, a little bit of trying to get back into my drums again. Been having fun with that and doing a little bit of the Microsoft Low Vision group thing that I'm in. Doing that a little bit, so that's been fun. And as far as what's coming up, like I said, you got the iPad stuff. I got a couple other hardware review things that I'm possibly doing. Nothing quite so, thankfully, nothing quite so expensive as all the Apple stuff that I've been covering lately. Thank God. But there's still a couple of really cool little pieces of hardware that I'm going to try to cover here fairly soon. Some games. Over the holidays, I'm going to start trying to think of. Usually I do a yearly wrap-up video. I don't do my game of the year, here's my top 10 games of 2018. I don't do that. I'd rather just kind of take a look at the year in review and look at it from a few different angles. Look at it from assistive technology, look at it through general games in general, look at it through game accessibility, and it's been a huge year for that. I should also mention that I saw an article 2 days ago, I think, or so on Twitter, the adaptive Xbox controller from Microsoft and Able Gamers, their partnership, that controller has made it into Time's top 50 inventions of 2018. So kudos, congratulations to everybody on that. Well deserved. It sounds like looks like a really cool device from everything I've seen of it. I mean, it's not something that I would personally need, but like I said, it's a fantastic thing, and it's great to see. This really gets accessibility and more specifically game accessibility, that really gets the word out there. So, maybe mainstream developers are gonna have to start taking notice of us here. Um, because we're not going to let them we're not going to let them get away. We're going to keep fighting for, we want to play stuff too. So again, congrats for that. But yeah, it's just been a really interesting, really cool year for game accessibility. So, just covering a sort of a year in review of some of my highlights in games and tech and apps and whatever else comes to mind. So that'll be toward the late December. I may be out of town for a little while, but again, I have so many videos queued up. Even if I am out of town, you guys won't know any difference because I can unlock things on my phone. You will still have your Wednesday, Saturday schedule, and who knows, maybe if not more. But yeah, you won't even see a notice. You won't even know that I'm gone if I am. So yeah, lot of stuff coming up there. That's kind of a quick, really update on the channel. Like I said, in the next week or so, I'm probably going to try to do at least maybe 1 or 2 Mixer streams of some variety. So mixer.com/BGFH. And I do announce my Mixer streams. Try to do it a little bit ahead of time, maybe half hour ahead of time on Twitter at BGFH79. So you can see me there. And if you follow me on Mixer, you'll get a notification when I do go live. If you wanted to hop in or whatever and watch, that's cool. So there you go. Things I'm not going to be covering. I do cover a lot of games. I cover a lot of, mainstream, a lot of big AAA games. But, the funny thing is, especially this year, there's a lot of AAA games that I'm just not interested in. Your Call of Duty, your Battlefield. I played I've played the original Call of Duty. I played Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and then I just really didn't care anymore. So I'm not going to be looking at those. Battlefield, that's just a hard game, I think, for me to play. I'm not really into the team-based stuff. Give me a first-person shooter, give me a straight-up deathmatch. If it moves, shoot it. That's more my style. So those types of games, not really going to cover. Red Dead Redemption. Again, there are things that just fascinate me about it. I could get it for the Xbox One. But again, it's not something I think I'm going to bother with right now. I've seen enough footage, and actually I've watched a kind of a full Let's Play of the main story. So I have seen pretty much the game throughout. And the reason that I've done that is because, again, Rockstar, they're not really, as I would say, they're most well known for including any form of accessibility stuff into their games. And I've played several of the Grand Theft Auto games. I own the first Red Dead Redemption and kind of gave it up pretty quickly. I've covered things like Saints Row 4, Saints Row the Third, and Red Faction Guerrilla, and I've always complimented them on how you have these glowy in-world navigation things that make following and finding objectives so much easier. You don't have to rely on the mini-map. You don't have to rely on just little things that are harder to see. And there's just things I think, especially in the open world navigation, but even finding enemies and stuff. I know there's some lock on and everything, but there's just things in there where I think it would just be a little troublesome to play. And, maybe if it comes out to PC, or maybe if it goes on a deep sale in the next year. I mean, likely not, because they're going to make $1 zillion on this thing like they always do. No, I'm just, a lot of the tech, a lot of the, the just wandering around the environment and seeing what kind of crazy stuff happens. I'm fascinated by all that stuff. Aside from the actual main quest, yeah, it kind of might be fun to just wander around the Old West and just explore and wander the old Wild West and see what actually happens and explore. But it's just, I have way too much other things I want to do right now, and it's really not high on my priorities at all. Even Grand Theft Auto, I kind of want to play Grand Theft Auto 5 a little bit, especially on the PC, where they've added some, made it better to look at and added the first person mode. Like, not even going through the missions, but just wandering around and just absorbing the Liberty City atmosphere that the amount of detail they put in those games is ridiculous. So, I mean, maybe we'll do that one of these days. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm probably not going to be covering Red Dead. And the other game that I'm not really going to be covering for a variety of reasons is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because, well, A, I can't mirror the Switch. I don't have the hardware to do that right now. And also, I'm just not really interested in the game. Like, I've played the Smash Brothers games before. But again, I've talked about it, I think, on the podcast and on some of my videos. There's a lot of chaos going on. I mean, there's just things flying around the screen. It zooms in and out and pans around and all kinds of things. And you're trying to knock each other off ledges. And it's really easy to lose sight of your character. And so I find it a very kind of a difficult game to play. The last one I actually sunk any time into, I think, was the Wii version because it had this like single player weird story-esque mode that was meh, okay. But yeah, Smash Brothers Ultimate, I can't really say that I care all that much. I'll be taking a look at some of the fringe games. There's been a couple of smaller titles that I've picked up recently or that I might think about picking up. I'll take a look at, and even with like the Steam sales, you're going to have like the Thanksgiving sales probably going to start here pretty quickly, I would think. And then you have the holiday sale. I used to live for those things, man. Like, oh man, I can get a bundle of like 40 games for like $10, just some stupid price, just really, really low price. But I've kind of developed a little bit of an immunity because my library is so huge as it is. And yeah, I'll go through my wish list and see if anything is superly deeply discounted. But other than that, I'm sure I'll pick up a stray game or few here, but nothing really substantial. But if you have watched any of these games on my channel and you do want to get them for cheap, and I should say if you can use Steam with low vision, because I know Steam accessibility, as far as screen reader accessibility goes, is hot garbage. If you can use magnification to use Steam, I mean, in the next month and a half, that is going to be the time to get your Steam library up to speed because they always have ridiculously deep, good sales. So, you see something you might want to try, maybe give it a look. And especially look at Good Old Games. Don't forget about them. Good Old Games, you can go to their websites. You can download the games DRM free. You can use their launcher, but you don't have to. You can just download the executable or the archive and unzip them and run them. So you can do that. And Good Old Games is another fantastic service. And if again, a lot of the games that I might cover are also available there, and so you may want to check those out. So that's sort of what's going to be happening. A couple other odds and ends. Oh, another game that I won't be covering, not by choice. I would love to be covering this. You may have heard me talk about it on Twitter a fair bit the last couple of weeks. Tetris Effect. Right now, it is a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR exclusive, which is a super bummer. What is his name? Tetsuya Miyaguchi. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. But he's the guy who is behind games like Rez, Luminous. Both games which, especially once Rez came to VR, I've covered Rez Infinite for the Rift. And it's awesome. Like, I never really caught into it when it was on Xbox Live Arcade that much. But man, when I saw it in VR, it kind of clicked with me. And I've loved Luminous. Like I said, the one I got on Switch, there were some visual problems. But I did a stream of the Xbox Live Arcade version, and that one I still really, really love. So right now, Tetris Effect is PlayStation exclusive, but seeing as how Rez has made it to other platforms, Luminous has made it to other platforms. I really don't like, I'm really impatient. I don't want to wait, but I can hope that Tetris will come to other platforms. Because I really wanted to play Tetris Effect on my Rift. That just sounds like a really cool, kind of an immersive way to play Tetris. I love me some Tetris. And that just looks like a really neat, really cool way to do it. So, no, I'm not going to be covering that game at the moment. God knows I would love to, but hopefully in 2019, maybe we'll get a PC release. Maybe. So yeah, that's some of the things maybe not to look forward to, but yeah, there's still plenty to look forward to on the channel. A couple other odds and ends that I noticed just in gaming that I had to comment on. A couple of weeks ago, they had their Diablo or their BlizzCon event, and they announced this Diablo mobile game, and that was their main ending thing to their keynote. And boy, man, Blizzard fans were not happy about that, I tell you. They went so far they had Q&A at the end, and one guy asked, he's like, "Yeah, is this like some kind of a late April Fool's joke?" Which was kind of a dick move. But yeah, I mean, maybe if they announced it early on in the presentation and not left that as their finale. I mean, like I said, these are a group of people who, World of Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, all these, hardcore PC games, and then they end their presentation. "Oh yeah, by the way, we're making a mobile game. Woohoo, mobile!" And I'm not saying it's not going to be good. It could be good. Granted, I've never played World of Warcraft. I really don't have any urge to. I played a little bit of Diablo back in the day. I did pick up Diablo 3 for cheap one time on the Xbox One. Haven't gotten around to playing it yet, but maybe we'll check that out sometime. The last Blizzard game I really got into was good old Rock and Roll Racing. That game was badass and desperately needs to come back. Blizzard, come on, how about making that happen instead? How about that? But I can see where I can see where their fans are skeptical because I mean, how many times have I commented on the channel? Mobile games started out as a really cool idea, and there are still some fun mobile games. There are still some titles that do it right, but largely the mobile landscape has just turned into this wasteland of shit because you have all these paywalls, you have like 3 different versions of currencies that you have to pay real money to unlock stuff. You have timed gates. You can only play this for like 5 minutes before you gotta either pony up money or wait an hour or wait 24 hours or just all kinds of different things that go against the person actually playing and enjoying the game. And another reason that they were mad about it is because this game apparently is not going to be made by Blizzard themselves, but it's actually going to be made by some Chinese company that makes kind of a suspiciously Diablo-esque game that's already out there. I can't remember what it's called, but I've even seen ads for it in other games that I've played. I'm like, because I saw the Diablo trailer and went, "Oh, that looks like that game I just saw an ad for when I watched one in for a bonus spin in my Beat Street. That looks oddly familiar." And so they're like, "Oh yeah, this looks like they're just taking the skin of that and dumping your microtransactions and all this free-to-play mobile nonsense into a beloved franchise." And I see where they're skeptical because if I really, really loved a franchise, like I said, when I saw Mario Run, I was like, "Oh, I love the idea, but are they going to have to, you're going to have to keep buying coins, or are you going to have to buy like certain things, energy or something?" No, you buy a $10 thing and unlock the rest of the game. I'm fine with that. But I'm skeptical. I'm kind of cautiously worried about the Bethesda game. I love the Elder Scrolls series. And we talked in the E3 videos about Elder Scrolls Blades that I think is supposed to still come out sometime this year, at least in beta or early or something. I don't know. But being able to play a portable version of some kind of an Elder Scrolls game on my iPad, hell yeah, bring it on. But then I go, wait a minute. Yes, that could be cool, but what are they going to do to it? Are they going to, again, are they going to make you an energy based? You can only play it for so long, or to get upgrades, you have to craft certain things, and then you got to use gems and whatever other nonsense currency that you have to pay real money for, that you're going to have to grind 30 hours to get one item that you need to craft something. And, I would like to think Bethesda is above that, but especially with Fallout 76, which I'm also not going to be covering because I just don't have interest in that title. Maybe I'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm worried. I want to love Elder Scrolls Blades when it comes out, but I just hope they don't murder that franchise. So I get where the Blizzard guys are coming from. Maybe it was maybe a little bit of a dick move to go, is this an April Fool's joke? But again, you got to know your audience, and, they were fighting back like, well, what, doesn't everybody have a phone here? Yeah, but that's not the point. I mean, we know what mobile gaming has largely become. So, maybe that is not the finale of your keynote event. I would love to know more about Blades though, because I really hope they don't screw that up, because man, if I could play an Elder Scrolls game on my iPad while I do other stuff, that would be great. But speaking of Bethesda real quick, I've covered Fallout 3, Fallout 4. I really haven't covered any of the Elder Scrolls games on the channel, and that really has to change because I fell for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I fell for that game hard when it came out. I saw the first trailer E3 footage before it did. That was right around when the Xbox 360 was coming out, and I'm like, no way they're going to make this look that good. And I picked it up for PC. Jawbreaker and we would literally get, because it's a single-player game, but we would get on Skype, and he would play his game, I would play my game, and we would just talk, like, oh yeah, I'm going over this thing, and oh my god, there's a big old Minotaur thing or whatever. I'm like, oh, I found this quest, and I'm doing this, and just, chatting, but it was just a really fun, I probably put, I would bet I put 300 hours into that game. Addictive as all hell. Skyrim I got into, but I think something happened on my computer and I had to reformat or something, and I think I might have lost my save or something happened and I never got back into it. And, it's another one of those games where I could see myself getting really sucked into. So I've got to cover at least one, if not both of those games on the channel too. But, the Fallout games, I'm not going to be covering Fallout 76, at least in the near future, because that game, I watched a Giant Bomb. I didn't even finish the Giant Bomb video because I just got bored. I mean, it looks, there's no non-player characters in the game. It's all just a few robots. Everybody else is like a human player. It just looks, it's a little more colorful, but I mean, the gameplay just looks monotonous, boring at best. I've seen other videos that are really buggy. I mean, Bethesda games always have jank, but it's gotten to the point where it's not just like Bethesda jank. It's like, oh, this game is kind of broken, I've seen in some videos. So, no. And especially with the time suck like that, I'm not gonna, I know. I just don't have time, nor the interest to really play Fallout 76, which is sad because I liked Fallout 4. I enjoyed it. I played that for quite a while myself too when it came out. What, a year or two ago? I can't even remember. But yeah, the Blizzard stuff. Oh, the last thing I was going to mention is Sony. So I saw on Twitter the other day, Sony is not coming to E3 next year. The last several years I've been covering, doing my thoughts on the various E3 presentations and things that I'm hearing and seeing on E3. Well, Nintendo has not been doing the traditional E3 presentation. They've been doing their Nintendo Directs the last 3-4 years now. sounds like Sony's backing out. Now, I don't know if they're going to hold their own event during E3 or before or after E3 in the same area. I don't know. I haven't really heard. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like if they're not going to do their press briefing and have a booth at E3, I mean, I guess Microsoft might be there. They may have. I mean, I really don't know. It's going to be a weird. I would kind of have to think that maybe Sony just wants to do its own thing and totally be in control of it. But I guess we'll have to see. You know, and I've been saying for the last couple of years, you know, what is E3 going to be in the next few years? I don't know, but it's kind of turning into, you know, they're letting it open to the public more. You know, it might just be like another trade show or another kind of public, like PAX type event, something like that. Maybe with a little bit more time exclusively for press and things like that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, E3, it's not what it used to be. I mean, back, man, when I first learned about it and I covered like in the N64 days in the late 90s, I would have killed to have gone to E3. It was just amazing. Like, oh man, I could see all these games. I mean, because back then we didn't have streaming video. We didn't even have hardly video. A lot of people were on dial-up. I just so happened to be in college and I had a T1 line in my dorm. Huzzah. But no, I mean, like you had to read, basically you would read all these little write-ups that people would write, like, oh, I went and saw this game and this is what a blah, 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 blah. They had a few screenshots. Maybe they had a tiny little low-quality video of, you know, 10 to 30 seconds of gameplay footage or something. Maybe some of it was taped off of a video camera pointing at a TV. Maybe the press would give you a short video clip you could use, but, like, you just had to go on the hype. And you really wanted to hear more and see about these games. And now you're better off just, you know, you don't have to, you know, if I went there, you're not going to play much anyway because you're going to be in lines. So, you know, I can watch E3 largely from the comfort of my home. You know, I can watch all the press conferences. I can watch a lot of all the major sites like IGN, GameSpot, whatever. They do all these live streams, and so if there's games I want to find out or just have on the background, I can just watch. So, yeah, I mean, to me, there's really not even really an incentive. I don't really have much of a desire to go anymore. But yeah, I just thought my first reaction to seeing that on Twitter was like, what? Sony not at E3? What? What the hell? And the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Be interesting to see if they're going to do their own thing near or during the same time of it, but, you know, whatever. I think those are all the major topics that I wanted to ramble about today. A little bit about the channel, some stuff going on in the tech and gaming industry. Again, congratulations to the Microsoft Accessibility guys and the Fear guys. Definitely check those out. Check out all the videos that I've done recently. Got some more good stuff coming. I'm sure we got probably a few bonus videos for you this week because it's Thanksgiving. I'm on holiday and in a good mood, and because why not? So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. You can follow me on Mixer, mixer.com/BGFH. Should have another stream or so of those coming up in the next week or so, maybe a couple. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later. Have a good Thanksgiving. Have a good holiday. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Later.